afternoon. It's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'll get you updated on what's happening around the business world. Of course, all eyes turn today on the Fed as they start their 2-day meeting. Of course, getting done with that meeting tomorrow and then doing their announcement on hopefully what interest rate cuts we have starting tomorrow out there, but that's what the focus is on the market. We'll get you update on stories around that as we do have two Federal Reserve uh, stories coming up here that affect who's going to be in this meeting as well here over the next couple of days. Of course, stocks we're paying attention to, local and national stories that you need to know around the business world. So let's not delay it at all. Let's get into it with the Market Watch. And like I said, everything's just kind of on hold right now for the market. Everything's in the red here today, but, nominally in the red today as everybody's waiting. Nothing major is going to happen in terms of the stock market till tomorrow when word starts to come out and eventually comes out the rate hike, which will happen during our show here live at 11 o'clock. Well, the Dow Jones right now is down 77 points to 45,781. S&P 500 is down to 2 points, 6610 is where it is sitting right now. NASDAQ down 10 points, 22,337 for the tech-heavy index. Then the Russell 2K, right? The small cap index down 1 point, 2,400 for it. Bitcoin continuing that steady uphill tick here up to the 116,000 range, right? 116,743 for Bitcoin here today as well. So, there's just people are taking money out of the market here ahead of the Fed decision, kind of taking profits is what's kind of happening, and some money out of that area. As I said, big movements will start happening tomorrow, but that's where we stand as of right now. And stocks we're paying attention to. Let's start with the company called Webtoon Entertainment out there. Look at this, 35.76% up for this company right now. They reached a deal to create digital comic platforms for the Disney company out there. Webtoon also agreed to sell a 2% equity stake to Disney as well in that deal. So Webtoon Entertainment up big, 35.63% here today off of that news with, obviously a lot bigger company in Disney is what they're getting in bed with, and obviously the market likes that a lot out there. Webtoon, by the way, they call themselves the number one global story tech company, is how they say, what they do is out there. They have several brands that, if you might have heard some of them, they have a bunch of creators. They do advertise 155 million subscribers in their 24 million creators that they have out there. So it's a big, internet size thing. Well, working for Disney now. That's how big they've gotten coming up here for Webtoon Entertainment. Next up, we're paying attention to Hims and Hers Health, a follow-up to yesterday's stock that we looked at. This was one of them, 5.62% down again today. It was down yesterday, and it's officially received that warning letter from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Yes, the FDA has said that the company's claims on its website regarding compounded semaglutide products, they say that they're, quote, false or misleading, unquote. Remember yesterday the story was that their Super Bowl ad was not to the industry standards and the industry expectations as well. Hims and Hers Health taking a beating here from the U.S. FDA here these last couple days, down 5.57% here today as that follow-up happens. And then finally, Novo Nordisk is the next company we're going to look at. Well, they said its experimental once-weekly weight loss drug, Carglitide, it's a monotherapy injection. It helps. Isn't that funny how I nailed the name and then screwed up the simple word after it? Well, it helped patients reduce their weight by 11.8% after 68 weeks. That's a long week period. 11.8% down over 68 weeks. Well, that's good news, obviously, for Novo Nordisk. They have another weight loss drug out there. 3.01% up for the drug maker based off of that successful news. Later on, when we look at the stock market, going to some food stocks coming up, right? Denny's, Dave and Buster's Entertainment, and we'll go into the solar realm of things, Solar Edge Technologies. At least the last couple days, the stock you should be paying attention to. You will get you those updates here coming up. But first, obviously, the Fed is starting their meetings here today. Wrap it up tomorrow. And tomorrow, during this program, probably toward the top of it, the hour there at 11 o'clock, we will be just getting the word on what the monetary easement is. Is there a cut? Which there will be, probably. Is it a quarter inch? Probably. Or quarter inch. Is it a quarter rate cut? Probably. Out there. Any surprises that happens, obviously, we'll be here to tell you. But around this voting, a couple things have happened. One, the Senate has confirmed Stephen Moran. He's one of the White House's top economic advisors. The Senate confirmed him yesterday afternoon to the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. Senators voted 48-47, mainly party line vote over there in the Senate, obviously controlled by one person there, by the Republicans. So he is officially there. He is officially set to report to the Fed's Washington, D.C. headquarters early this morning as the officials there open that two-day meeting, which will decide the direction of the United States economy in this meeting. The Federal Open Market Committee, of course, is meeting today and tomorrow. They announced their Fed market decision midday tomorrow on that cut, but a Trump ally gets in there into that Fed decision making. We already know two Fed members last time kind of went against everybody and voted for that quarter rate cut. Now, I'm going to assume we got another one in there that's going to do it. So things going that route. But the other news around the Fed meetings as well, that appeals court did come out yesterday afternoon, and they ruled that Lisa Cook, the Fed chairman that has been trying to be ousted by President Trump and his administration, that appeals court ruled that she can remain a Federal Reserve governor, which of course means that President Trump and his administration has lost this round of appeals as well here to basically get her out of that spot. Here, obviously, they wanted to do it before this key vote on interest rates here in the next couple of days. The Trump administration is expected to quickly turn around and appeal it to the Supreme Court. Obviously, it'd be a last-ditch effort to unseat Cook here with this two-day meeting coming up as well. So Lisa Cook stays for the voting, and of course, a new member on Stephen getting in on that board in that time frame. So, yes, don't forget that Lisa Cook has also sued the Trump administration, seeking to permanently block her firing. It's got to go through the courts as well. So we got two angles going with this specific person. And interesting facts here, right? Because we know it hasn't been done, question a long time, if ever. Well, check this out. So this whole thing to unseat Cook, you keep seeing the word unprecedented. Every story I read about it says it's unprecedented. It's unprecedented. Well, how unprecedented is it? Obviously the board has 7-member governing board that gets confirmed by the Senate on there. And you can only be removed for cause or your term is up at that time frame and everything. How unprecedented is this move? No president has fired a sitting Fed governor in the 112-year history of the Fed governorship and this agency together. So I would say that's unprecedented, folks, for everybody saying it's an unprecedented move out there, right? So 2 important things decided yesterday in the court systems, one in the court system, one on the Senate side, affecting this vote here over the next couple days. And with that being said, let's turn to the sports side, right? NFL season has started. NBA season's about to kick off as well. And they both have some changes around how you watch them, how much money you have to spend to watch them as well. Because we know over the last couple years, sports has been a patchwork of expensive subscriptions, cable packages, password sharing, for a lot of sports fans. You buy this one and I'll buy this one right out there. And there's a new poll from the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs Research. So the this poll has come out now on what sports fans feel about this and everything. Well, basically, the poll's main come array with is sports fans have to have, and they're beholden to multiple platforms at a cost that no one likes, folks. I don't think it's a shocker nobody likes these, even though the NBA commissioner came out and said, if you can't afford our streaming services, oh well, poor people don't watch our sport except for highlights. The owners, the commissioners, the players, they don't care. But this study says about 4 in 10 people who follow sports extremely or very closely, well, they use cable or satellite TV and a sports only streaming platform at the same time to be able to watch all of their sports. 2 in 10 people who follow sports somewhat do the same thing. So the diehards, not shocker, diehards are getting whatever they need to watch the sport. Anybody below the diehards is just not doing it at the same rate. So for many fans, as you know, particularly those who want to watch out-of-market teams or even follow regular season play, closely, well, there's no other option than to turn to these expensive patchwork of services. You got to have them all out there. So there's a less seamless form of live entertainment and sports distribution. So it makes it difficult to watch. You got to figure out which channel it's on, which app it's on. Did my payment go through this month? Type of did I not buy that service? It's a headache, right? Instead of just turning on your TV and flipping through the channels as well. So you're basically rebuilding the cable bundles that, of course, you got rid of when you ditched cable back in the day as well. The people who are the happiest with the availability of sports events, well, you're the happiest if you use multiple platforms, according to the poll. 6 in 10 U.S. adults who report using cable and streaming services say they are somewhat or very satisfied with the availability of sports events that they want to watch, compared with just over half who use only sports streaming services and around 3 in 10 who just have cable. Obviously, you're happier if you're a sports fan if you pay for all the services out there. Makes sense, right? If you don't have all the services, you get frustrated. Like if you don't have Amazon, you can't ever watch Thursday Night Football unless you go out to a bar or something to that effect. Serious sports fans are more likely to be using sports-only streaming platforms to begin with. People who follow sports extremely or very closely report a higher usage of those sports-only streaming platforms. Things like I do, right? MLB.TV, NFL Sunday Ticket. That's the one I don't have. NBA League Pass. I have to get MLB TV and League Pass because Diamondbacks and Suns, right, with no cable out there and everything. So if you are a diehard, you're buying those services. 6 in 10 people who follow sports extremely or very closely use those sports-only streaming platforms, compared with 3 in 10 people who follow sports somewhat closely. Very, very few non-fans actually use those sports-specific platforms out there. So it is a limited number of people. The diehards will buy them. Nobody else pretty much does at that point. So get used to it, folks. It is in the business of sports. It's what you're paying for the subscriptions to watch these sports as well. It's kind of something that you need to be aware of moving forward. And I gave you this idea at the end of the show yesterday. I told you at the end, right, the headline said that President Trump wants to do away with quarterly earnings reports. Well, here's the details on that story for you here today. And he put this out in a post on Truth Social, like the president does. He said security regulators should stop requiring companies to issue financial reports every 3 months, and he wants them to instead move to a 6-month reporting period, so twice a year instead. The SEC commission, well, they've required publicly traded companies to report on a quarterly basis since 1970 is how long this has been happening. Trump did ask the SEC to examine the 3 versus 6 month reporting requirement during his first term, but no changes were made at that time either. Supporters of the change say quarterly reporting is too costly and too time-consuming. It even discourages companies from wanting to go public. They also say company executives focus too much on hitting quarterly earnings targets and not enough on long-term planning because of those quarterly numbers. Whew. Those who favor the quarterly earnings, well, they say the reports provide investors with valuable financial updates and make them aware of any new risks a company is facing. Yeah, 6 months, a lot can change in 6 months in terms of if a company is successful in the second half of last year. Might not be the same thing going into this year, right? For that side. If you want to look at the history of this, I told you the it shifted in 1970. This policy's been in effect since then. Well, the reason why it shifted because it required companies to disclose those quarterly bases, is what they said in 1970. It stemmed from a booming post World War II economy that ran into that giant recession, right? We got into the 70s. Companies that were thriving during the expansion, well, they were able to then hide their shrinking profits during the downturn, which obviously hurts investors. If your company's shrinking in a 6 month period, you're able to hide more in that time frame. That's why they went quarterly, and this is something to keep our eyes on here. Obviously, around the business world, that'll affect a lot of things out there. But yeah, it's we can just stay quarterly, right? I think you can hide a lot of devious stuff in a 6 month period. And here's an update for you in terms of TikTok that we talked about yesterday as well. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, he came out yesterday and he anticipated a final deal on TikTok when President Trump speaks with Chinese leader Xi Jinping coming up this Friday. China has a long list of asks during talks this week when those sides met in Madrid. Bessent is let all kind of those details out, or kind of an outline of the details of his meeting there in Madrid. He described the negotiations as fulsome and conducted with great respect. Well, the two sides said on Monday they've reached that framework agreement after months of talks between the two countries. They're doing a lot of other talks, right, besides just the TikTok side of things. But, they're trying to diffuse the trade war that has obviously gone on between these number one and number two economy here in the world. But Sen did say Trump made it clear he would let TikTok, which counts 170 million U.S. users, by the way. He said Trump would let it go dark without a deal to switch to a U.S. controlled ownership. Trump, as we all know, he's extended the deadline to reach the deal on the app 3 times. He's expected to do it a 4th time because the deadline's coming up, well, today, as a matter of fact. Details on the commercial terms with the new investors, it needs to be ironed out. According to Secretary Bessent, he did not elaborate on those ironing out details of what could happen, but do a quick little Google search here, and you see a couple other people, a couple other, media outlets talking a little bit more details about this, right? And that's our next story here. Well, pay attention to Oracle out there. Of course, Oracle technology company. Well, they're among a consortium of firms that would enable TikTok to continue their operations here in the U.S. And that's all part of that framework deal between the U.S. and China, obviously to take over TikTok, right? So Oracle will be involved in this process as well in terms of keeping it alive. The precise structure of the final deal is still unclear, but we know Oracle's a name that is kind of leaked out, right? But it's also going to include multiple companies. It's not just one that's going to take it over. It's not clear what level of involvement that the Chinese firms, including TikTok's current parent company, ByteDance, what will the Chinese firms have in the deal? We have no idea on that. Who will control TikTok's powerful recommendation algorithm, which is what you want to buy for TikTok? You can recreate a TikTok app left and right here in America. It's that recommendation, that algorithm that you want to own moving forward. President Trump and Xi are expected to talk on Friday regarding it. President Trump did come out this morning. He declined to say which companies are purchasing TikTok, but he said they'll be announcing that soon. So pay attention to Oracle coming up is the big side. Well, China came out, and the Chinese embassy in Washington did come out and do respond to this news earlier today, and they said, quote, China will firmly defend its national interests, the legitimate rights and interests of Chinese companies, and will carry out technology export approvals according to relevant laws and regulations. They went on to say that the Chinese government fully respects the will of enterprises and supports them in conducting business negotiations on an equal footing in accordance with market principles, unquote. That's from the Chinese comments regarding the news coming out. So keep your eye on Oracle. Silverleaf is another big conglomerate I'd pay attention to. And this deal, it's going to be a bunch of companies kind of taking it over, but something to watch here with these companies and keeping TikTok alive here in the United States is kind of a thing we're looking forward to. And when we come back, right, a couple local stories for you. Governor Hobbs has come out along with Attorney General Mays. They're announcing efforts to fight high energy costs here in Arizona. And then Alaska Airlines, well, one of their companies is shutting down. It's going to affect some jobs there at Phoenix Sky Harbor. Stocks that we're paying attention to, Denny's, Dave & Buster's. It's lunchtime. Let's get into those. Solar Edge Technologies. Come on back, folks. It's McCollum on Business, Tuesday edition. And we're back here, McCollum on Business, Tuesday edition. Appreciate you joining me here. Of course, Stephen McCollum, and we're getting you through this Tuesday workday in the business world. Don't forget, this show live at 11 o'clock, Robat TV, goes up on demand on Robat TV. Right after the show is up also, of course, now we do the YouTube page out there, right? All my shows are on that YouTube page for free on demand as well. So McCollum on Business will be uploaded there after this show. Takes about 30 to 45 minutes to get it up there for you. Of course, the main event, 8 to 10 a.m. today. The legend Bruce Cooper joins us on Tuesdays. He came in for the show as well. His segment's up there on YouTube right now under the TME interviews. The whole show's up there on demand right now on YouTube as well. The free podcast for the podcast system, for those of you that listen to that, well, that's up there as well for you. All up there. Check it out, of course, at Robat TV as well, on demand. Then the pit stop, the look back show, and last weekend's racing there at Bristol. We have that being posted later on today on demand at Robat TV, of course, on the YouTube page as well, and a free podcast system at the Pit Stop Talk there on Podbean is where you can find that free podcast at. Going forward. And folks, it is a good time to be around here and with the shows we have going on and coming up for you. And well, look, we're the day before the Fed meetings today. They make their decisions tomorrow. Let's do our final look at the Market Watch. This is the final look at our Market Watch until tomorrow, when everybody will just be waiting around for the news on what the Fed is going to be doing on Wednesday there, right? Everything is kind of down today. Everybody's just sitting there waiting. Everybody's just, taking some money out of the market a little bit as well. The news breaking right now is that Tyler Robinson, one who murdered Charlie Kirk there, aggravated murder. Prosecutors will be seeking the death penalty. Those charges have officially been filed against him, hitting the business wires here right now. And Dow Jones down 92 points. The S&P 500 down 2 points. The Nasdaq's down 9 points right now. The Russell 2K, that small cap index, down 4 points right now. And then, of course, Bitcoin, 116,522 is what it's trading at right now. Up about 1,150 points here today, as of course yesterday was at 115,000 level there for Bitcoin. Stocks that we're paying attention to right now. Let's look at some food ones, right? Some restaurants. Well, Denny's is the first one, right? American's Diners Company. Well, it's up. Well, it was up earlier, 6.34% down right now as well. It was up over 4% earlier today. The investor, JCP Investment Management and Jumana Capital, they filed an initial 9.4% stake to engage in discussion with Denny's management. That's what drove the stock up 4% earlier today. 4.2 ish, 4.3 ish. Well, now we're down 6.34% after that initial news this morning. Denny's stock, initial pop, and huge downgrade here based off of that news of discussions with Denny's management with two investor groups buying a 9.4% stake in Denny's Corporation. Next up, we got Dave's and Buster's Entertainment. You know them, they serve food, entertainment, games, sports, etc. Well, they're down 16.70% right now. Well, their second quarter earnings did fall short of expectations, and their stock is down 16% because of it. Adjusted earnings came in at 40 cents per share. 91 cents was expected by analysts out there. Big miss by Dave & Buster's Entertainment. I can tell you this, Dave & Buster's has gotten really, really expensive lately over the last year or so. So revenue, well, it was $557.4 million. Well, they were expecting $562.8 million. So big miss by Dave & Buster's. Stock down 16.49% here today. And then, you know, in the solar category, there's been one stock that's had a lot of success here since Trump administration took over. Consistent success, I should say. And that would be Solar Edge Technology. So let's look at them here today as well. They're up 5.79% right now for them. No idea why it's up 5.79%. These solar stocks just kind of teeter around the zero, right? They go up, they go down as people move off of them. But there's a lot of unknown here with the rebates going away, technology, et cetera, and everything. So the driver of this 5.88% gain, no idea. But the thing that caught your eye, if you look at this from the macro level, I saw this from CNBC. Well, right now, 5.85% up. This stock, Solar Edge Technology, is up more than 11% for this week. Folks, it's Tuesday. It's 11% up Monday and Tuesday here for this stock. So what's coming out that we don't know about is the big question on Solar Edge Technologies and what we're looking at for them. So I just wanted to make you aware of what they are doing out there and local stories that we're paying attention to. Just a couple here today. As the governor, Katie Hobbs, Attorney General Chris Mays. Well, they're both announced efforts earlier this week, actually Monday, since it's only Tuesday. It's all about those rising energy prices that we all face. Of course, at least on the SRP side, the high summer rates, they're done as of last billing cycle. Still expensive, between 2 and 8 p.m., but rates coming down a little bit here as we are slowly cooling down, right? Hobbs signed an executive order and says she's designed to streamline the development of new electricity generating infrastructure across the whole state of Arizona. Hobbs tasked her Office of Resiliency with working with other state agencies. Well, they want to identify federal funds that can be used to reduce costs for Arizona and helping, quote, eligible solar, wind, storage, geothermal, and nuclear, unquote, begin development as soon as possible in order to take advantage of those federal tax credits that go away at the end of this year. Several existing federal programs, they're expiring at the end of the year, so the urgency is on to get those done in those credits. The governor also directed all state agencies to develop plans by 2027 to reduce their energy consumption by 5%. The governor directed some of her agencies to begin work to cut red tape now in order to do some of these things, not have to go through the bureaucracy on top of that. So the order does direct the Arizona State Land Department to come up with ways to streamline and expedite the process to approve land leases for energy infrastructure, things like solar farms, etc., that you see out there in the middle of the desert. So the governor directed the Department of Transportation to identify opportunities to locate new transmission lines on states' rights of ways. That does include lands controlled by the states along roadways, is what she's looking to do as well. So she wants to cut the bureaucracy down, the red tape, cut that down as well, because that all that does is add increased cost to these processes as well. So, this about a month ago, Ruben Gallardo was out there, a senator, and he told Phoenix business leaders that the federal government should take similar measures to encourage an increase in energy production, specifically around the development of small modular nuclear reactors, is what he had said about a month ago. And now Katie Hobbs, as governor, is kind of implementing some of those plans that he had talked out there as well. So that is happening from that side. And then, of course, the Attorney General, right, Chris Mays, she announced she will officially oppose APS's request to raise rates by that 14% that they're requesting next year. They were never going to get the 14%, but they asked for 14 so they could get 8 or 9 or 10% increase, right? So according to the recent procedural order, and don't forget, Chris Mays was part of the Corporation Commission for a while, so she knows this process well. During a recent procedural order, the Corporation Commission granted Mays' request to intervene in the case. The commission also allowed several interest groups to intervene also in the case here as well. So, they are moving towards kind of blocking that 14% increase coming up. And let's face it, we know energy demands are going up because of these data centers and large boxes, et cetera, being built around the valley. And us as homeowners have to pay increased prices because of them. That's where this is going towards. This is what's been happening. And Chris May, say what you want about her, right? She's always suing President Trump. Whether you agree with her politics sides or not, well, she at least is getting in on this to stop us as homeowners from spending that extra money because of those data centers coming in as well. So APS officials, of course, have said its rates have not kept pace with what it's costs to operate a reliable, resistant energy grid, despite an 8% increase approved by the commission last year. 8% last year, they want 14. They're looking for another 8 or 9% here next year is what they're looking to end up at. So Attorney General getting involved on stopping that as well coming up. And, Sky Harbor Airport, record traffic, even though it was a little bit of a dip in July, right? We know that, the food company that puts food onto planes, the Sky Chef, LG Sky Chef, we know there's some layoffs coming on that side as their contract is winding up there at Sky Harbor Airport. And now there's a company there as well, McGee Air Services. It's actually an Alaska Airlines subsidiary working out of Sky Harbor. Well, they're shutting down its operations at Sky Harbor and laying off 79 employees around November 5th of this year is what they're looking to do. They did file the WARN letter, the Workers Adjustment and Retraining Notification letter with the state. It was filed this month here in September. The closure and layoffs are attributed to cost-cutting measures, potentially linked to the ongoing integration of Hawaiian Airlines. Of course, Alaska and Hawaiian Airlines are kind of merging into the Alaska Airlines group. It's kind of where this is coming from that side. So McGee Air Services, 79 employees, around November 5th coming up, based off of that merger between Alaska and Hawaiian Airlines. So more layoffs over there at Phoenix Sky Harbor coming here this year. We know the LG Sky Chef is coming up also here in a couple months. They filed their WARN letter as well. So Sky Harbor having some challenges there in terms of people working at the airport there for specific airlines and things to that effect happening right now. So I appreciate you guys joining me here on this Tuesday edition of McCollum on Business. Just looking to see here what headlines are out there. Eli Lilly is building a $5 billion manufacturing facility in Virginia. So another pharmaceutical company bringing some production back to here as well. Of course, OpenAI hires former XAI CFO, and that's obviously going to rile up Elon Musk a little bit as those two companies continue to feud as they go on. And all of that's happening, and just everybody's waiting for that Fed decision tomorrow. So come and join us tomorrow, live at 11 o'clock. We'll get into the Fed decision, what it is, what kind of rate cut are we seeing, what does that mean for the economy? Does that mean mortgage rates go down? Those, of course, are tied more to Treasury yields. Some predictions I see is mortgage rates will drop, but not at a significant level. We'll have to wait and see, because I firmly believe this market's not taking off again until real estate becomes a real player here in the market. We'll have to watch that coming up. So come join us tomorrow, folks. We'll have it up on YouTube, of course, on Robat TV as well. We'll see you tomorrow, 11 o'clock. Don't forget Pit Stop later on today. On demand here and on YouTube as well. And, of course, the main event's already up, folks. We'll see y'all tomorrow.